Directly I left the French coast, I found my machine working beautifully. I must have been traveling nearly 80 kilometers an hour when nearly halfway across, the wind dropped, and for a few minutes the conditions were ideal. Traveling with no vibration, I seemed to slide through the air. It was an exquisite and exhilarating voyage. Unfortunately, haze and mist put an end to my tranquility.
Henk van Hoorn is a keen pilot with a love for historic aircraft. He's had a lifetime interest in the work and achievements of the early pioneers. Henk's dream was of having a full-size Blériot in the Netherlands and flying it across the Channel as Louis Blériot and Jacques de Lesseps had done so long ago. He's one of a small group of men from different countries who each shared the same ambition: to fly to England on the centenary of Louis Blériot's heroic flight in July 2009.
Was a nice flight.
Henk became interested in aircraft at an early age.
Nou, zoals zoveel piloten ben ik ook begonnen met modelvliegen op de leeftijd van 6 jaar. En met het modelvliegen werd dat steeds wat groter en ingewikkelder. En op een gegeven moment dacht ik van, ja, zal ik zelf niet eens gaan vliegen?
Pascal Kremer, an aviator from Luxembourg, had invited the grandson of Jacques de Lesseps to join in the celebrations. Mike de Lesseps and his wife Suzanne are about to arrive from America.
Uiteraard is de Blériot een eenpersoonskist, dus meevliegen voor de rest is niet mogelijk. Hoewel, we hebben een kleine actie gehad met eerste dag-enveloppen. En deze enveloppen gaan mee aan boord en ik hoop dat ze droog overkomen.
The original Blériot XI used the Channel Type 3 cylinder W configuration Anzani engines of 25 horsepower. Earlybird's PHBLE has a Lenap Papoose 3-cylinder radial engine of 45 horsepower, originally intended for the Piper Cub. It closely resembles the later military-type Anzani 3-cylinder radial of 35 horsepower. The Lenap Papoose engine remained in store for 5 years. By 1985, Henk had obtained detailed plans for a full-size replica, having previously built and flown 2 large-scale model Blériot XI aircraft. Work started on building the aircraft inside his attic workshop.
We have just learned that Henk wants to fly tonight. So the weather is fine, so they will leave tonight. You will leave tonight at 1800. You know the landing site, Waldershire Park. Out of here, you have the frequency 12892, which is the tower frequency when the airfield is opened out in 1900. If you fly after 1900, you use it as an information frequency. Helicopter-wise, Peter has a life raft, so if there's any ditching problem,
we could almost pass it.
Over to
participate in an event like this is truly quite wonderful. And what is it like to participate in this? It's a treat for me and for my wife, who's been very patient about all this. And I just think, you know, it took 100 years for this to happen. And here we are celebrating Grandpa's flight. But I would just add, I sat in a Blériot once. And I looked out over the fuselage and I said to myself, 27 miles across open water, Grandpa? What were you thinking?
One of you take this with you, and when you're in the water, pull this. Yeah? To inflate, pull handle. Okay. So, and then, and then do what you can, don't let go of it. There's not much wind, but it might be enough wind to beat you when you're swimming.
Early evening on the 20th of May 2010, and both aircraft take off.
The navigation is easy, right into the sun. At the shoreline I turn left for Calais and head for Blériot plage, the starting location of Louis Blériot's epic flight. While leaving the French coast, I do some calculations. Louis was also flying with a speed of 1 kilometre a minute, and it took him 37 minutes to cover the 38 kilometres to Dover. But I have to cover a much larger distance, 61 kilometres, as the original start and landing sites are not available anymore. I notice that the headwind over the channel has picked up. It is going to be a long flight, but who cares? Some 35 minutes after leaving the airfield at Dumarque, the shores of France and England are equal in sight, so I must be halfway now. The helicopter is darting about and playing a little with me. Eric, our cameraman, leans out of the helicopter as his door has been removed. Well, he must be having a thrilling flight like me. Several ferries are helping me to find the right route, and I even dare to get a little lower, as I'm hoping for some nice shots from. Slowly the white cliffs are growing bigger and bigger. Keeping at this lower altitude is a real challenge. I'm hoping to give Eric a shot of the century, but common sense is prevailing, and I decide to climb higher to avoid the expected turbulence above the cliffs. I keep the two Second World War masts on my right and pass the shoreline. What a feeling! I look for the A2, and at the second roundabout I have to go right, I think. minutes later, and far into the distance, I discover something that looks like a glider airfield. The windsock is slack, so I can risk a low pass across the strip and figure out a proper final approach.
Few are witness to Henk's landing a day sooner than expected. Flying further than in 1910 and with moderate headwinds, Henk achieves a record-breaking endurance flight of 75 minutes.
The trees at the beginning of the strip are much too high for me, and there is a crosswind. So a nice entrance from a shallow angle, avoiding the trees, with still enough length for the landing, does the job. The last meter and I switch off the contact. 75 minutes, and I did it. I'm the first Dutchman